We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold stories. Stories of men that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 5 of Untold Stories, courtesy of the Reality Lab talk show. And tonight we are about to go in depth into another interesting conversation, bragging into the stories of people who have impacted society and helping other young people out there so as to see them grow into the real being they have been made by God to become. Let us take a short break, and when we come, we'll know our guest for tonight.
We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold stories. Stories of men that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery.
And for tonight, our guest in the studios on Untold Stories episode 5 is a married man, and he had his first degree in political science and also badged his second degree in law. And as of now, he has been called to the bar and he's a barrister and a solicitor. And has been a one-time president of the Bible Studies Union for Abbey College, which I'm a proud member. And he's also a preacher of the gospel. And for tonight, our guest is no other person but barrister Ibrahim Faya Sawane. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are honored to have you on this platform. It's a privilege. And we want to say thank you for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
All right. So, you're a barrister, and one of the questions that I'll be asking you today is linking your the art of being a barrister or a lawyer, and you being a preacher, because the society has corrupted this whole system, thinking that few institutions or a domain of things are supposed to be left for a set of individuals and not for Christians to be specific. But we'll come into that. So I believe Untold Stories is there to let us understand and know certain values within your life. And we'll be taking the topic pursuit to excellence. The pursuit to excellence as a drive in unveiling some of the stories within your life. And we believe that to become a barrister and a preacher man as you are now, I believe you must have underwent a lot of things back then. So I personally want to take you back. I want you to tell us who was Ibrahim when he was a nobody by then, and tell us about the Sawane family. How were you back then? What sort of family you emerged from? Who are you?
Thank you. And it's also a pleasure on my side to be on the podium to share my story. I have a very humble beginning or background. Born sometimes in the 80s.
Okay.
To a family of 7. My dad is late now. He was a public health superintendent. I think he worked for the Ministry of Health for over 37 years.
Wow.
My mom, yes, Sierra Leone. My mom is a typical housewife who did petty trading while she was a bit young. And I was born in Bombali district, Kamakwe.
Okay.
I tell people Sela Limba Chiefdom. That was where my parents were for 16 years and they gave birth to me there. I grew up in the eastern part of Sierra Leone, Kenema to be precise. I went to the Sierra Leone Church Primary School, also known as SLC in short.
Okay. That was in Kenema.
In Kenema, from class 1 to class 6. Well, I didn't go to preparatory school, what people call nursery.
Okay.
It was from the house to class 1. And I also went to the government, attended the government secondary school. In Kenema, we refer to it as the University of the East. Sat to my WAS in 2003. Before going in for the exam, I said to myself that I was not properly prepared for the English exam. So I knew I was going to have some difficulties with the English language exam. But I had some good grades when I took the exams in 2003. 4 B's, 2 credits, and E8 in English language. Like I said, I knew I was going to have some problems with it. So I entered for the private exam the same year, came to Freetown, took the exams, and I got an average grade of C5.
In English?
In English.
Okay.
And I gained entrance into the University of Sierra Leone.
Okay, before you go to the University of Sierra Leone, I want to take you back. You said you were born out of a family of 11.
7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay, so these 7 children were the only begotten of your mother?
Yes, single mom.
Okay, so you were the number what?
I'm the penultimate, the 6th.
The 6th. Okay. So what was it like before I take you back to Fobe College? What was it like being the penultimate, as in one of the youngest, I would say, in the family, and growing up? Who were you like? Were you the troublesome type? Were you the one that wants to know everything? What were you? What did your parents class you to be?
I'm the curious type of person, not the troublesome type.
Okay.
But I also grew up very wild, but within a context. I was playful.
So are you defining the wild now?
Yes, I was playful. You cannot take me for a ride. Back then, I knew what I was aiming for, and I have this mindset. If this is what I want, I go for it. It does not matter the kind of people that are around me. I didn't give much problem to my people, except otherwise. I cannot remember or recall a day where some other people went to our house and made complaint and said Sawane or Ibrahim. At home they call me Tor, T-O-R.
Okay.
Tor did ABC.
So why did they call you Tor?
So it was given, and then the name given to me by my namesake was in Madingo, and I am Ibrahim Sori.
Okay.
And he used to call me Intoma. Okay. And when my elder sister would go to the house where I used to stay with this old man, and she would hear Intoma, when she goes home, she would say To. And that was how the pet name came to being. And when I grew up, I became a bit sensible, come to know the difference between what is good and what is bad. I had to coin the name Zato.
Okay.
So the ZA was something I added to the Tor, so I'm Zato. and I'm so fond of the name.
All right. So at your house back then in Kenema, right?
Yeah.
How were you correlating with your siblings?
Very well. I'm from a very warm family.
Okay.
And mutual respect. We were trained to respect everyone that was your elder, whether you are from the same mother or from the same family or not. You respect everybody. And we grew up in a very big household. It was not just, it was an extended family home where our mother helped us to understand that we have to do whatever that was given to us to do. You clean the compound. If an elderly person asks you to go and do ABC, you have to go. You cannot say, no, you didn't give birth to me, I cannot do it. Because there's this notion when you grow up in an extended family, people believe in some superstitious way of doing things, that if you are that haughty, proud, pompous, rude, they can do whatever to you. That's a school of thought. I wouldn't say I believe in it, and at the same time I wouldn't say I don't believe in it, but that was us.
Okay.
Loving
so at that stage when you were, I would say maybe your primary to your secondary stage, right? That was where you schooled throughout from primary to secondary at Kenema.
Yes.
What would you say? Would you, now you're a barrister, would you say you had the determination back then that I wanted to be a lawyer? I want to be a lawyer, rather. I want to be a barrister. Was this a thing that started way back there, or there was no?
No. There was this thing in me. My dad was not being paid much. I could remember before he passed away in 2007. His last salary was around 700,000 leons. So can you imagine, for a very senior public servant? I said, there was this day when he said to me, now they are not paying me, but my children will grow up and they will pay them well. My mom was very hardworking as a petty trader. She used to sell, you know what we call pepper cake? And I was also part of the group of people that would help to bring or fend for the family.
Okay.
I used to sell cold water, ice, kerosene, soda soap, because these were things my mommy used to make just to help us. Our dad was in Freetown, and few of us were in Kenema. And so you have to do something to help the family.
So you did this with joy?
Of course. I was selling yogurt ice up to SS3.
Wow.
There was this boys' room where I should be sleeping, but I didn't go there. I was sleeping in the sitting room. I have my table, my books were on top of it. It was like joy, pleasure. And I did everything out of the sense of service to the family, that if the family must grow, if we must change our story, then we all have parts to play. So it was something I did out of joy.
Oh, you mentioned that you were wild, but you tried to put it in a different context.
In context, yes.
So what I want to say now, now you just mentioned that you used to sell all of these things that our society consider now as odd jobs or odd business or whatever they might have claimed it to be. What I want to ask is, somebody might be out there asking now and saying, okay, he's a barrister now, so you saying you are wild. Can we try to look it from another angle? Did you ever encounter your life being part of people that drink, smoke, or maybe engage in humanizing? Because these are some of the vices that happens now and people say, okay, well, it will change, okay, we're low patience and things go happen. So I don't know, would you lay light on that aspect of your life?
I am a product of grace. I had too many friends then, wild, cool-headed, serious and unserious friends. but none of them influenced my life in a way that I would have regretted today. I had friends that were involved in womanizing. But it will interest you to know that I never had a girlfriend even up to my final year in the university when I was pursuing my BA.
Okay.
I think, yes, I think I had my first relationship in my third year honors one when I was reading for my LLB. Somebody might say, you are sick. No, I'm not sick. And I was very healthy, very potent. But I made up my mind not to waste my life in a way that I would regret.
So what was the driving force of that mindset, of that decision?
I said I'm a product of grace. It's all about God. And I was also with the resolve that I cannot go into gambling, drunkenness,
All of those things,
and those other wild plays. Even though I was wild, I used to play football. I could go sometimes in the morning and wouldn't come back very early. And I would go and I would leave my flip-flop or I would leave my crepe and other things at the field, and I would come back and I would meet my mommy, who was a military officer. And she would discipline me very well.
You'll be waiting for your discipline.
Yes, and it interests you to know that if anything happens, then when I go out, I don't come and report. Because no sooner you make report, she will beat you before she wants to know the details.
And when she knows the details also, she beats you.
Of course, that I have advised you not to go do A, B, C, and D. But that was it. That was the result I made. That I have to become somebody. I remember in 2000 through 2001, the now Minister of Health, Dr. Alpha Wuri, visited our school. Unfortunately for us, he went to our class, SS1 Arts, and he asked questions.
At Kenema.
And Kenema, yes. He asked a question in relation to what is the arm of government responsible for the making of laws. Somebody answered wrongly and said it's the executive, and I said it's the legislature. And he said, that's very good. And you know, he talks very fast. He said, do you want to become a lawyer? And I said, yes, because I was nursing becoming a lawyer before we met. And he said, you have to have 4 A's. And I told him, I promise. When we were in SS3, and in 2000, the worst result was out, and somebody was jubilating in school. I don't pass. And I was seated with one of my friends, Coco Fele, and I said to him, I am going to pass the WAS. I said it, maybe then it was something that was very weak. People might think it's not possible, but I said to myself, I was going to pass the exam. And like I said earlier, the only difficulty I had was the foundation they gave to us with respect to the English language. And when I took the exam, I passed. I didn't get university requirement because I had to pass English, but I had very good grades because I made up my mind that I was going to pass my exam, and I studied towards it. Somebody might say, you are selling up to SS3. How did you manage? I tell people, I am not a genius, but I know if I prepared for any exam, I will pass.
All right. I think you already answered the question I wanted to ask you, because some people might be facing the situation. They will be out there and they might be undergoing some of the things you went through, as in selling, walking the street just to make ends meet for their family, and they're also studying or doing school and all of these things. The balance texture, it might be very difficult for them. So how did you balance yourself so as to make your academic excellence?
Time is a very scarce resource that you must manage very well. When you go to school, if you're a pupil or student, listen well. For me, if I attend all my lectures or classes, it becomes very easy for me to prepare for the exam. In school, there could always be time for you to do domestic chores, to go to cell. If let's say I am attending a school that goes in the morning. After school, in the afternoon, I help my elder sister who was also living with our mom in Kenema. I could help.
Okay.
In the evening, I said I used to play football. I was a bit wild. I could go and play football. I could still come home and prepare to study.
It's all about the management of the time.
Yes. Know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Don't go beyond the marginal line, because your life will be untidy. You know, every book has a margin. You don't write behind the margin. You write between the margins. So I knew what to do at every given time.
So I think these are the 3 cards: when to do, how to do it, and where to do it.
Yep.
So I think when people get to grasp the idea of these 3 things, we'll be able to manage time very well.
They will be like your map, the sketch that will model you in the way you walk and the way you drive.
All right, so let's fast forward to your university life.
Yep.
So you entered university at Foibe College.
Yes.
What year?
2004, 2005 academic year.
Okay. So how was it like? I guess you met the hostels.
Wow.
I guess you met. So how was your university life? How was the social, the academic, the physical, every other aspect? How was it in general?
For me, it was like a journey, and it was the first time I left my parents' house to stay on my own, and I liked everything about it. When I went to Foibe College, fortunately for me, I became a member of the Bible Study Union. It's called Slefis FBC, and there are distractions around, but I was never distracted. Before I went there, I made up my mind that I was going to become a member of one of the Christian unions. And a friend of mine walked up to me and introduced BSU, and I made up my mind to take the form, and I filled the form. So socially, I was like that. I interacted. I didn't take part in sports activity, Solomon Coker Hall athletes. And until we left there, we were the champs of the university until we left there from 2004 up to 2008. Okay, there was this year when we had this tie, Solomon Coker Hall and what is this, Devisiniku Hall.
Okay.
We had Devisiniku or Baibure. We had a tie. I think it was in 2007. That was the first time we had a tie, but we were like the champs. So it was formed to be on campus because it makes work very easy. After lectures, you could just go into your room, you relax. If you have your food, if you have food, you cook. If you don't have, you go to the cafeteria. We had a group in the union of BSU that we call the church. It was like the early church way of doing things. It's like everyone in, no one out. If you have food, it was not your food. It was the food for everyone. If you have your shoe or your crepe or your flip-flop, we shared everything in common. It's like we all bring and we share. And it shaped my life to know that we all depend on one another to progress in life. No one is an island. You need me, I need you.
Of course.
There might be times when you have what you think is sufficient, and there might be times when you think you do not have it, and I might have it, and we share. And so that was it for us in the church. And we have this hierarchy in the church. Well, I was one of the cardinals, and we have the Pope, we have the Sacramento, this sort of thing. And life was not boring.
Okay.
Life was lively.
So I want to go to another angle. You spoke earlier that you came from an humble background.
Yep.
So living in college might be very fun, and of course you guys shared everything. But how were you like? Did you did you encounter strains, as in financially, keeping yourself? How was it like?
I wouldn't say that I encountered financial difficulties, because I had enough to take care of myself. But I will also say there were times when what I wanted, I didn't get. I came from a very humble background, but I used to eat every day. There was not a day I went to bed with empty stomach, even though I didn't have all the luxuries that a student living on campus would have. No car. There are times there would not be transport to go to town. You have to canal. I don't know if you know about the canal. The canal on campus is a system of walking from campus to town or from town to campus without using the main route. You use the hideout. So I used to canal a lot, and we were like the managers for canal. Okay. But there are times when it was
If you don't know canal, you need to know canal.
Yeah, canal is a very nice experience. It's a very nice experience. And so that was it. But again, BSU helped me. We had what we call the Need Fund. Need Fund was a system in which those who have graduated from the college will send in their support to the union for those who would be in need. So we were over 17 in the church.
You were staying in the church?
Yeah, the church. We call the group the church.
Okay.
We were staying in a particular room that we call the church. It was like it was a time where if you go early, you have somewhere to sleep. If you don't go early, you don't have somewhere to sleep. You can find somewhere to go and sleep. So that was life. So 17 of us will go. Let's say I take 2,000 leons, you take 2,000 leons, and the others take 2,000 leons, and we put the money together. We go to the market, or we send one of the girls to go to the ladies to go to the market, and they get food, and we come, we cook, and we eat. You see the joy. And so you might not have everything you need to buy all your textbooks, to photocopy, to go to town, or to put on the best dress. But you sense friendship growing. You sense others around you like being anchor, keeping you going.
Wow.
That it's a stage, it's a phase, it will fade off.
Yeah. Season.
Yep.
So how was the second degree? So tell me about the transition from the first degree to the second degree and what came about. Did you intentionally went to law immediately, or you waited for a few years, or whatever? What happened?
I wanted to switch from BA year 1 to law. I went and I talked with my dad that someone has promised to pay my fees to retake the WAS, to reduce my English language, so that I can go to the law faculty or department. My dad said, no, you're already in for the BA, just complete, after which if you want you can go. I said okay. Upon graduation in 2008, I enlisted for a program with the Sierra Leone Fellowship of Evangelical Students called Kingdom Service.
Okay.
Kingdom Service is a scheme that helps young graduates to volunteer, to go to places that are remote, to go and help. You could take up a teaching job, you could take up any job, or any job of your choice. But your focus would be to preach Jesus and let him known to others. So in 2008, 2009, I enlisted into this said scheme, and I went to the island of Banff for 1 academic year. Myself, Yusuf, Mansare, and Dapi Fode, the 3 of us, we went into this program.
Okay.
And we served. We were interacting with students from different campuses. I was teaching history, government, and literature in 3 schools. After I was there when I applied for the LLB program.
Okay.
In 2009, it was going to be 2010 academic year, but I was shortlisted for the interview, but I was not shortlisted. I was not accepted.
Okay.
And no sooner I left the island, I applied again in 2000. So 2010. When I came to Freetown, I was also volunteering with SLEFIS, that's the Sierra Leone Fellowship of Evangelical Students, as a volunteer training secretary. I was also helping with 3 campuses.
Okay.
Yes, I think I could still remember that. MMCT, Congo Cross, RIPS, and MMCT Brookfield.
Okay.
I was helping as a training secretary.
Okay.
and at the same time I was helping as a volunteer at the St. Joseph's convent. I was also teaching.
So you were just serving?
Yes, serving. And it was like giving your all to helping Sierra Leone become a better place. It was also interesting to know that I was never fortunate to get the Sierra Leone grant in aid for the 4 years I was on campus. I applied for 4 years and I was not given the grant.
Wow.
But not once. Upon graduation, I served Sierra Leone. That is me. And you couldn't say the country must do everything for you 100%. There are times you have to do something. And that was my own service to humanity. And I had to teach and I taught with my all.
So upon going to the law program, did you stay on campus again?
Yes, I was on campus.
So you stayed on campus for 8 years?
8 years. It was difficult for me not to have stayed on campus. It was going to be very difficult. There was this time when hostels were not functioning. I was staying at Cotright in one of the quarters of one of the staff on campus, and I stayed there for one academic year. In my final year, we were asked to leave campus. So I had to meet a brother who housed me for close to 4 or 5 years.
So on a sense, there was no place for you in Freetown.
No, my parents,
or you didn't want to stay with your parent anymore.
It wasn't that I didn't want to stay with my parents. You know the difficulty of staying in the east end part of Freetown and you are schooling at Frabe College. Let's say your mommy gives you, I could remember there are times when my mommy would give me 5,000 leons to go to campus or 2,000 leons to go to campus. What would you do with that money? If you take transport, that's the end. So you pocket it, use the canal, go to campus. If you have an opportunity to stay on campus, there could be friends who would have rooms. You squat. It was unlawful though, because if you're not a room owner, you are not supposed to stay in the rooms. But that was it. We stayed on campus for the number of years.
Okay, this is good. We want to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to go deeper into the law and the preaching side of who you are. Keep it locked in.
We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold Stories. Stories of men that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery.
And I hope you have been learning a lot from the story of Barrister Ibrahim Sawane and his pursuit to excellence. And Barrister, we want to move further to your journey through the law course, as in being called to the bar. And everybody has different experience with this call to the bar stuff. We've had a lot of experiences, and I believe you have a different one, if I would presume. So what was your experience upon ending your law program at Faber College and trying to pursue into entering the bar of Sierra Leone?
The bar exam everywhere in the world is not a child's play. It's not easy.
So it's a universal thing.
Yes, and so I say to people, if you can dream it, you can become it. for me, when I was reading for the LLB at Fairview College, no sooner the academic year commences, I go to the library and I look for questions. I study based on the questions. With the course outline, I answer the questions. And that is what I study. Lecturers hardly change their questions. I will cover my syllabus from the first topic to the last topic using the questions. So I'll be very comfortable. And I will also say it without any air of pompous that I never involved in any malpractice or exam malpractice at Fairview College or any other institution.
So I was telling someone that exam malpractice is actually being categorized just maybe when you take a paper and all. So I told someone that even when you ask someone in class,
I never. There was no single exam I took and I asked someone to show me A or B. No exam.
Oh.
Was it that I was 100% comfortable in all of my exams? No. But I knew I wouldn't fail any of my exams then. It's about you preparing and know your lecturer.
So that strategy that you used for the bar examination worked out?
Yes, it did. It would be difficult for somebody to take me unawares in any exam, because if they give you the course outline, your responsibility is to go over it. Go through it. Make sure you exhaust it. And for the bar exam, you have to know everything or so before going into the exams, because it's a very slippery exam. The slightest mistake,
you're gone.
Yeah. And the uncertainty about you passing is so great that even when you are comfortable in the exams, you are not even sure as to whether you will pass. By the way, I had 2 references when I took the bar, and it was a bit strange because before I went to the exams, I said to myself, looking at the manner in which I have prepared I said, there is not going to be any reference. In this one, it's going to be all for all. But
so what was done next after the reference?
I took the reference exam. Yeah, I passed.
Oh. And you were called to the bar
in 2016.
2016, wow.
I think it was on the 25th or 20th of April.
Okay, that's great. So I'm coming to the question that I started with at first. So we have this societal prejudice that says that when you're a lawyer, you're a liar. And as a Christian, you can't match up with such a professional career. What would you say about that?
A lawyer acts based on instructions. You could walk up to me and say A, B, C, and Z. This is my land. I bought this land in 2002. I bought it from John. This person came into my land and he did A, B, C. What you supply me is what I will act on. So for those who say lawyers lie, I wouldn't want to countenance that by saying it's true or it's not true. But lawyers act on instructions. If you look at the papers lawyers file, they will tell you based on my instructions. Or if a lawyer is addressing a judge in court, he would say, based on my instructions, my lord, or speaking from the bar. He is not saying what he thinks is his opinion. If a lawyer is giving an opinion, he gives the opinion based on facts, evidence, things that have been presented to him.
So now you're saying lawyers act on instructions. So if someone brings such a case as you gave as an instance earlier, and through the evidences being provided to you, you came to know that he was actually giving you instructions that were based on false accused or something of the sort, you still move out and work according to instruction, knowing that what was handed over to you was false or something of the sort. What would you say about that?
Your responsibility as a lawyer, that is why they call you a legal counsel. When somebody brings a matter to you or instructs you, your duty is to fact check what has been presented to you, and you advise based on the law. It is left with you as to whether you can handle the brief or not. If you know the brief is beyond your abilities, then it is professionally wise to allow it to go. If you find out that what the person told you was not the truth, you have the responsibility of advising the person and advising yourself. Either you continue based on the facts that have been provided for you, or you can let go the file.
Okay.
It depends on the situation. No two situations will be the same.
Of course.
You could act. Sometimes when you represent, I have a book titled Defending the Guilty. Sometimes when you defend people, you know the person did the act, but you're not defending. Sometimes you're not defending the person to obviate the liability. Okay, to get him off the hook. The law is very technical.
Yeah.
The person might have committed the act, but the person might have defense. I'll give an example. If you have a knife and you're rushing at me, and I know if you reached at me, you are going to kill me, the law makes provision for me to protect myself. And in our laws, you are not supposed to run away. You are supposed to stand your ground and protect yourself. So assuming I hit you back and you die, somebody might say, oh, I am guilty of committing murder
So another
or
party
manslaughter.
might be
But there's a
yourself.
defense of self-defense that says, I have the responsibility to protect myself. So sometimes when you represent people that are guilty or that are liable for things that they think they might have done, you are not necessarily bending the truth or the fact. You are applying the law to fit into the person's situation. Or let's say it's a tenancy agreement. You are supposed to pay this person at the on the 10th day of January, and the house is not habitable. Okay, it leaks, there are damages all around, and you have informed your landlord that fix up this place. The agreement says you have to fix up the place. The place needs to be tenanted. It must be habitable, and the person refuses to fix up the place, and you refuse to pay your rent, and the person comes to court. For the layman, you are in breach of an agreement, not so. But for you, you know that the person was supposed to do A, B, C, and the person refused to do it. So defending that kind of person is not like you are taking advantage of the person who may want to squeeze that person, but that you are applying is just about
so I think it's just about understanding the perspectives,
your facts,
where you're coming from,
your instructions.
All right, I believe viewers are understanding exactly where you're coming from. Yes. All right. So I want to ask you two important questions. Who is your mentor?
Do I actually have one individual that I will point at and say this person is my mentor?
Or would we put it down to saying role models?
I have people that I admire. My pastor, Paul Ken Bokari, is a mentor or an admirer when it comes to preaching the word. He preaches the word, nothing more, nothing less. He is so consistent in preaching the word that I always want to become like him in preaching the word. And I have people around that I look at based on what they have achieved in life with respect to integrity, not material wealth accumulation. I look at them and I admire their lives. I admire their examples, and I want to become like them by the way they live and what they have achieved or accomplished in life. Wealth is not just about what you get. Wealth it encompasses your way of influencing others in society. For me, that's wealth. Money is good, and I want money, and I'm finding and working for money, but money is not all. So I have people I admire, and sometimes I try to copy their footsteps.
Okay, second question. You're a lawyer, and I believe one of your habitual dependencies is reading. So would you tell me, what would you say, or which book would you say it's your all-time best book?
I told you about Defending the Guilty. Before I became a lawyer, you know, there's this stereotype perception about lawyers can't go to heaven. Lawyers are liars.
Yeah, just as
lawyers are not saved. And I don't believe in those. So when I came in contact with this book, and I came to understand the adversarial aspect of litigation. That is, you are defending A, I am defending B. Why am I defending A? Why are you defending B? And it has helped me so much. Grisham is my favorite author. And there are too many other books he has written that I have read. And if you are aspiring to become a lawyer, you make Grisham your friend. You will learn a lot. Grisham. Yes. He has so much. John Grisham. He has so much to teach. Different subjects.
He's a lawyer.
But you can check up Grisham. Just Google John Grisham. You could see myriads of textbooks. But Defending the Guilty, I think it's one of my favorites, if not the favorite.
Okay, all right. So I want us to end with this. You're a preacher and a man of God, and what else would I say? You're a teacher of the gospel, and how is it? How can you consider teaching the gospel as a ministry? Apart from all you're doing as a barrister, lawyer, and all of those things, how have you considered the teaching ministry or the preaching ministry as a ministry on its own?
It's an honorable job. My legal career is not different or separated from my Christian life. I am a Christian. I'm a lawyer. Let me go religious a bit. Colossians 3 verse 17 and verse 23 say, whatsoever we do, we must do it with all our hearts as unto the Lord, knowing that the Lord will reward us for what we do. I'm just paraphrasing. So being a lawyer is an act of service in itself to humanity, to God through humanity. So if I'm representing a client, my responsibility is not just to please the client. My first responsibility is to please God. So I do all I could to please God and satisfy the client, and that has been my watchword: service unto the Lord, not as unto man. So it's not separated. Today I'm a lawyer. I preach based on my act. Jesus says my light must shine so that people will see my good works and they will glorify God in heaven. So if I am representing a client in court, my responsibility is to do my utmost best so that the person at the end of the day will get the best out of my service. And the person might want to ask, why is Sawane different? That could be an opportunity to tell the person that I'm a Christian, I am this, I am doing what I am doing because of my faith. So that is me. The two are not separated. I'm one. My life as a Christian is not different from my life as a lawyer. Have I made mistakes as a lawyer? Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you're a product of grace. So that is supposed to be a message that is passed. Just before we end this interview, how is marriage for you?
Marriage is nice. And one of these days I was saying to somebody, when I was talking with another friend of mine who is also married, and he said marriage is a very good risk. It's worth taking. It is unique in itself. My marriage is different from the marriage of the others. The challenges we face might be different from the challenges others face, but we have learned to face our challenges, admit our faults, and learn from them, apologize to each other. There are times you apologize even when you are not wrong, because you want to keep the peace. So for me, my wife is the best. And it's the fact.
Okay.
It's
That's good. That's good. Okay. Thank you very, very much, Barrister Sarwane. It has been great. And viewers, we have been having Barrister Ibrahim Sarwane in the studios, and this is episode 5 of the Reality Lab talk show, Untold Stories. Keep it locked in every Thursday, and make sure you subscribe and follow us on Facebook at Reality Lab TV. God bless you. See you next week.
Thank you.
We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold Stories. Stories that mean that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV, as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery.